and Foxy. In order to prevent Bonnie and Chica from getting into your office and jump scaring you, you are required to go up to their respective doors and listen for breathing just outside the door. If you don't hear breathing, flash the hallway to prevent them from getting closer. If you do hear breathing, close the door until you hear their footsteps leaving the doors. Foxy will also roam the halls. If he manages to get into your room, he'll camp out in the closet and require you to close the closet door on him in order to keep him at bay. Freddy is always behind you on your bed at all times and will slowly materialize through the frettles. Once enough time has passed without you flashing the bed, Nightmare Freddy will jump scare you. On each night, every animatronic is assigned an AI level that will determine how difficult the animatronic is for that night, ranging from 0 to 20. For Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy when he's in the halls, this AI value will determine how quickly they reach your doors. The way that the game does this is by giving each of these animatronics a movement opportunity every 5 seconds. Which means that every 5 seconds, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy will have an AI value in 20 chance to move. For the animatronics that don't move, those being Foxy when he's in the closet and Freddy, their AI value will instead scale how fast they progress towards jump scaring you. Now let's get back to the gameplay. On night 1, Foxy's AI remains at 0 throughout the entire night, so we don't have to worry about him at all yet, leaving Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy. My strategy for Bonnie and Chica going into this challenge was to go between the left and right doors as fast as possible and always have the flashlight on 5-second intervals. You see, when Bonnie and Chica try to move down the hallway when the flashlight is on, they will always fail their movement opportunities. To make this easier to visualize, take a look at this map I made of the FNAF 4 house. This middle square represents the center of the far hallway. These 2 squares are the corners of each hallway. These middle squares are where Bonnie and Chica are visible when you flash the flashlight. And these squares represent when Bonnie and Chica are right outside your doors. If Bonnie or Chica is at the top corner of a hall, and I'm camping that hall while flashing the flashlight down, Bonnie and Chica will not be able to move into that hallway. Specifically, they will have a 50% chance every second to update their destination to either move backwards to the center of the hall in Bonnie's case, or into the kitchen in Chica's case. Both Bonnie and Chica's chance to move is really low on this night, only 5% for Chica and 5 to 10% for Bonnie. So I was able to get through night 1 without too much difficulty. That should be night 1, I think. Okay, cool. Alright, that was light because Foxy wasn't here, so now the real challenge begins because Foxy is hard. I always found these to be scarier than the actual minigames. Like the jump scare will always give me way more. Okay, I gotta lock in now. Something I feel that is worth mentioning is the plush trap minigame. Because if completed, this minigame gives an insane advantage, allowing the player to start the next night at 2 AM instead of 12 AM on the first attempt. Here's how to beat it every single time. Plush Trap has 2 audio cues, a sound where he's walking and a sound where he's scurrying. Wait until you hear 2 of the scurrying sound cue, then the moment you hear the next walking sound cue begin, shine your flashlight to catch Plush Trap every single time. Now, it's time to take on night 2. At this point, I figured that if I could just keep Bonnie and Chica from ever reaching the doors, this challenge would be totally free. So I went into night 2 with the same strategy in mind. Night 2 is a huge buff from night 1. Bonnie and Chica now start at 5 AI and later get buffed to 7 AI, and Freddy is now at 2 AI and later gets buffed to 3 AI. But the biggest change in this night is Foxy, who is now active. We don't want Foxy getting in the closet ever, as it would give us less time to cover Bonnie and Chica's intervals at the doors. In order to stop Foxy, we're going to have to move with him. You see, Foxy will dash between the 2 back corner squares on every successful movement opportunity that he has, which will play a quiet scurrying sound that pans in the direction of his movement. Once he's in one of these corners, he has a 1 in 10 chance to enter the hall on that side, and a 9 in 10 chance to enter the other back corner. When he actually enters a hall, it will play that same scurrying sound, but a little bit louder. If you happen to ever be at the opposite door of Foxy when he's in this position, he will immediately enter the closet. So we're always going to be tracking Foxy using his quiet scurrying sound. So the general strategy here is to wait in the center of the room, hear Foxy go to a specific side, then hold the door using the flashlight until the next 5-second interval passes, and then just repeat. This makes the night a bit more difficult, but still relatively easy. However, there is one more secret buff on night 2, and it might destroy our entire strategy thus far. Imagine that you are a popular Let's Player playing FNAF 4 for the first time for your millions of fans. You've been checking both doors constantly and haven't seen anything the entire night. You're flashing the left hallway when the clock finally hits 5 AM. Only one more hour to go. If you just keep flashing the doors, they'll never reach your bedroom. You go up to the right door, instantly flash, and BAM! Chica was there, poised to jump scare you. How? Why? I've never even seen Chica in the hallway. How did she get here so fast? The reason for that is teleportation. This is going to be the hardest mechanic to deal with in this challenge. You see, in order to surprise the player, Bonnie and Chica have a hidden mechanic. On nights 2 through 4, Bonnie and Chica can literally teleport to your doors. When the night is first loaded, the game chooses a random hour from 2 to 5 AM for Bonnie and 3 to 5 AM for Chica. Once this random hour is reached, the next time the player goes to the center of the room, they will teleport. In this example here, Bonnie's random hour was 2 AM, and as you can see, he goes from the left hall corner straight to our left door. This can get pretty crazy, as sometimes they can both teleport to your doors at the same time. Originally, I thought that I could combat this by holding a door with the flashlight on every single hour interval. That way I could at least stop Bonnie or Chica from teleporting for the whole night. But they'll actually cue their teleport until you run back to the center of the room, meaning there's no way to stop it. I honestly thought this would be the end of the challenge. Even in the absolute best case scenario, if they're both forced to my doors at 5 AM, Freddy would still kill me before the night ends on later nights. I needed to use my big brain and think, how can I get rid of Bonnie and Chica without closing the doors? When I first saw this, I couldn't believe it. Unfortunately, my mic was muted, so you couldn't hear me screaming my head off, but I never even considered the fact that Bonnie and Chica can still have movement opportunities when they're at the doors. Though these aren't exactly movement opportunities. For some reason, I have no idea why this is included. If Bonnie and Chica are at a door for 10 seconds and you're not listening to their respective door, they will move back to the middle hallway. This is how we can get rid of Bonnie and Chica at the doors. Once we hear one of them at the doors, run back to the center of the room, wait for the next 10-second interval, then go back and flash their door to clear them from the middle hallway. Though it isn't that simple. We don't always know exactly what 10-second interval Bonnie and Chica are on. Luckily, you can hear everything in FNAF 4, including Bonnie and Chica's footsteps going to and leaving the doors. So if we know for certain that Bonnie or Chica is at a door and we hear quiet footsteps from their side, we know that they've just had their 10-second interval and left the doors. No, I'm not. The only issue with this strategy is the wait time. Having to wait 10 seconds means that timer animatronics are going to become much more of a threat. This is why under no circumstances do we want Foxy to get into the closet. Having another timer animatronic to deal with in addition to Freddy would make this strat much harder. You see, Bonnie and Chica's attack timers are cumulative, meaning if Bonnie reaches a door, waits for 10 seconds, moves back to his hallway, then moves back to the door and waits another 10 seconds, his attack timer will be at 20 seconds, not 10 seconds. So we never want to give Bonnie and Chica the chance to move back to the doors. And if they do, we want to keep Freddy at as little progress as possible. For that reason, the moment I hear breathing at either of the doors, the first thing I would do is go back and flash Freddy on the bed. Bonnie and Chica's attack timer is calculated using this formula. meaning that on the first 4 nights, they would have to visit the door multiple times before entering the office. So we know for certain that when Bonnie and Chica are visiting the door for the first time, they will not be able to attack me when I'm turning around from the bed after dealing with Freddy. Once Freddy is dealt with, I wouldn't turn around to face the bed again until Bonnie or Chica had been cleared from the doors. Bonnie and Chica can only attack you specifically when turning around from the bed. So as long as Freddy can wait until I've dealt with Bonnie or Chica, this strategy should work. Now it was time to put my strategy into action. After smoking Plushtrap, I started night 2 at 2 AM. At 3:04, I had my first ever door attack in the run. Bonnie ended up failing 2 movement opportunities to move backwards, forcing me to wait until 3:30 to clear him from the doors. At 4:55, Chica managed to reach the door. On top of Chica's door pressure, Foxy moved into the right hall, meaning I cannot go to check Bonnie's door until I flash the right hallway or else Foxy would get into the closet. Luckily, Bonnie must have failed like 6 movements in a row because he wasn't even in the hall by the time that I got done with Chica and Foxy. Bonnie, Bonnie, Bonnie! You won't do shit, bitch. And with that, I completed nights 1 and 2 deathless. Yeah, oh my god. Oh, this challenge is light, dude. I'm goated. This is deathless so far. Yo, imagine we do 3 and 4 deathless. No way. Something that isn't related to this challenge, but that I found a bit interesting, was that I ran into a soft lock after night 2. I think what happened here was that I pressed spacebar the moment the screen changed, and therefore the text couldn't appear, but honestly, I'm not sure. If anyone has any idea what might have caused this, please comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Unfortunately, this means that I had to reset to the title screen. We don't lose any progress from this, but we do lose our 2-hour advantage with Plushtrap. So we move on to night 3 and are forced to play all of it. Night 3 is a bit of a jump in difficulty from night 2, mostly because of Foxy. Foxy's AI is now at 10 for the entire night. Unlike everyone else who has an AI and 20 chance to move, Foxy has an AI and 10 chance to move. So now, Foxy will move 100% of the time. This makes a huge difference. Literally, this was the first 10 seconds of gameplay for night 3. Okay, so I don't have Plushtrap, which is really unfortunate. I like having Plushtrap, but he's not here. Plushtrap decided to just leave on me. What bitch. Alright, bro, you got that one. But that shouldn't be a problem. I am the GOAT, and we're still gonna do this deathless. Yeah, I didn't last very long. See, in night 3, I had a total death count of 2 and a restart count of 4 because of Foxy. What? Bro, TikTok search Foxy biting the curb live. The first death was just because Bonnie wouldn't get his fat ass off the door so I could flash. The other death was the opposite. Chica left on the first possible 10-second interval, but I wasn't around when she moved. So when I heard footsteps, I thought that it was her moving away from the door, but in reality, she had already moved away and was moving back to the door. She moved! I heard her move! What the fuck? I heard her move! I know I heard her move. Why was that towards the door? What a dickhead,
bro. You got hit.